Hello everybody, and today I'm doing a very special video for Star Wars. So to make my Star Wars videos, I'm going to talk about my favorite comics from Star Wars. So I'm not up to date with the newer comics since it's hard for me to find what's coming out. I usually read like the graphic novels at my library, or I just buy a comic at various Comic Cons or shops, but I'm mainly updated with I don't know, the news on like Instagram or whatever pops up, whatever I see online. But anyway, we're going to talk about Star Wars comics. So I want to go over top 3 new canon comics and legends. So the first one I have to go with is the Darth Vader comics by Charles Soule and a bunch of other people. This comic book series is really fun because I love the art style. I love how it takes place immediately after Revenge of the Sith. It shows literally what Darth Vader did after he said no. And it shows Darth Vader going on his journey to get his red lightsaber. I always wondered how Vader got his red lightsaber, but this comic answers it. He goes after other various surviving Jedi, Jocasta Nu, Eve Koth, and then eventually the comic gets kind of twisted with Darth Vader going into some mystical world where he imagines himself killing all the Jedi in order, him killing Obi-Wan. It's crazy. It is a good comic book series. I didn't get to read all of it, but I once got this graphic novel for it. It was probably one of the best things I've gotten that is Darth Vader related. If I want to read a Star Wars comic, I think of Darth Vader. We know it's Anakin Skywalker in the suit. We all know that. But anyway, check this out. Next is Darth Maul, son of Dathomir. So this was originally going to be a Clone Wars episode. I always wondered, why wasn't Darth Maul in Season 6 of the Clone Wars? Since the season was cut short because I think the show got canceled after Season 5, but they already made a bunch of more episodes, so they put the rest on Netflix, and then the show ended for a long time until Season 7, and it was on Disney+. But anyway, Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, is a really good comic. You definitely feel the vibes. It was a Clone Wars episode, and some people want this to be adapted into the Clone Wars episode or something. I could see it. I'd want that too. I don't know. We got this comic, and it shows what happened to Darth Maul after he was captured by Sidious after his duel on Mandalore. And it shows some people were still loyal to Darth Maul, and he's using the Darksaber throughout it. And we get he manages to capture both Dooku and Grievous. They were this close to ending the Clone Wars. It shows that the Clone Wars foreshadows a lot of things that happened in Revenge of the Sith. A lot of things probably could have been prevented in various ways. Things almost could have happened. Darth Maul could have almost ended up killing Dooku and Grievous. Then the Clone Wars would probably be over. But no, because of plot armor, Dooku lives. But the comic book art style was really good. It'd be awesome. This is an episode of the Clone Wars, but definitely check out Son of Dathomir. Some people say this is Legends, but I don't know. The continuity between Legends and Clone Wars is confusing. I don't know. That's a completely different discussion, but anyway. Next is last pick, Star Wars, Kanan, the Last Padawan. So this comic was retconned when the Bad Batch came out. It showed how Deba Balava died. Spoiler. We obviously knew that. And we showed how Kanan escaped, but basically the same events happened. Kanan got away from the clones, and he witnessed his master die, and he got off the planet he was on. But instead, in this, it's a more jungle planet. And this comic even shows the Ghost Crew, which is awesome. And when I read this as a kid, this was awesome. Getting a Star Wars Rebels prequel comic. Yeah, I definitely felt different from what we see in Star Wars Rebels. For sure, I like learning about Kanan's backstory, what his life was like as he escaped Order 66. I know the Bad Batch changed all this when, like, Kanan met the Bad Batch, but then after he witnessed his master die, he didn't want anything to do with the Bad Batch. Could we see Kanan Jarrus in Bad Batch Season 3? Probably not, but this comic was really fun to read. Even if it's retconned or not, it's still Star Wars. So check out Kanan the Last Padawan. So now we're going to get over to Star Wars Legends. And you probably think I just love the new canon so much, but I like all aspects of Star Wars. So let's get into the comics that I grew up with. So my cousin gave me his only issue of Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures, Volume 3. It's basically the micro series, but in comic book form. And we got a bunch of cool stories. Like, we got a literal story that took place after Revenge of the Sith. Like, we're getting stories with, like, other Jedi. These honestly could have been episodes of the show. But anyway, these comics were a lot of fun. I mainly got my hands on the other comics at my local library. They had, like, an entire section full of those comics. I probably need to re-rent them again just to check them out. These comics, I bet you, a lot of you EU fans were definitely fans of these comics, these Clone Wars adventures. Like, it definitely still feels the vibe of the TV show. So, and I think next is Crimson Empire 2. So, before you strawman me, I've not read Crimson Empire 1. I actually found this comic at an exchange shop, and I thought, damn, this looks cool. This is a rare thing to buy. So I bought it. It was worth it. I like how different it is. Like, I kind of put pieces together. It takes place after the first one. We got this developed character with the Imperial Royal Guards, and we see them as, like, assassins. And this is, in one of the main characters, I think he gets killed off. Jack Connor, I think his name is. That character's name. And I think he's Comrade. That's where it leads to the story where he's on the run because of it. And we also get a bunch of, like, gangster characters like that Hut. I forget his name. We got a bunch of cool looking characters. And I thought this girl with the red hair was Mara Jade at first, but no, it's an X-Wing character. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. I'm sorry. But this comic was definitely different from most Star Wars comics. Like, it's definitely the most EU the Star Wars ever felt when reading this comic. I read it last year, so it was a lot of fun. So next is Jango Fett Open Season. So my cousin gave me this comic, and it basically explains the origins of Jango Fett, how he met Count Dooku, and his backstory before he met Count Dooku, and what we see him in Attack of the Clones. Like, we see, like, the Mandalorians before we saw him in the Clone Wars. But this comic was a lot of fun. Like, the art style, it reminded me of, like, I don't know, like the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. That's a weird comparison, I know, but it was, we learned that Jango had siblings or something. But like, the best scene in this is where Count Dooku leads a group of Jedi to attack the Mandalorian. After they've gone through so many wars, Jango Fett ends up taking out a bunch of Jedi just with his bare hands. And it's kind of weird how they portray Jango as tough, but yet he gets killed by Mace Windu, who is super powerful, as what they say. But the Jedi decide to surrender after they realize it's not the Jedi way. But this was definitely an interesting comic as it goes through the various seasons, and he does get into the big fight with the big-time Mandalorian. And the way they fight at the end was brutal. It was definitely the most different from what we usually see. Like, this expanded the lore of, like, Jango Fett, the Mandalorians. So definitely check out Jango Fett Open Seasons. I think I've talked about it on my channel a while back. But anyway, I hope you read all these comics. Which one's your favorite? Comment below. But anyway, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.